Yard. It's another beautiful evening in beautiful Central Florida. Here with the grow table, and I thought I would give everybody an update. So 50 pots, and now I am completely filled all 50 pots as part of the What You Got Growing On series. Go check out the other episodes if you're into these types of things. Not everything has actually sprouted yet. See, I have some microgreens going, and I'll give you an update on all of this here momentarily. These are microgreens. These are actually micro carrots, which is a very interesting thing. Dill. Yeah, not bad. And I'll show you, I have a pile of cuttings that I want to still plant. And as I give you this update, I will also let you know that we'll check out the pigeon pea, which left the grow table and is now in the ground. In fact, I think I'll start with that. So this area of my yard, I have a video that I did. I removed the shade. It was some non-fruit bearing Suriname cherry. Took back the majority of it, and this opened up this area. You can see how sandy the soil is in my backyard. I hope. That's where I dug the hole and kind of spread the soil out here, and you can see how much sand content, just beach sand content, is in my yard. But here's the pigeon pea I planted. I've noticed it is doing quite well. And the trunk is actually getting thicker. And this is a type of high protein edible pea tree that is easy to grow in your yard. I actually have a video I'm working on right now that highlights this. This was one given to me by a friend, and it's doing quite well. So that should get rather large. I'm going to bonsai trim that thing. And then here is a cotton candy tree that I planted, that I'd grown from a seed, and it's doing okay, but it's really feeling the effects of that salty irrigation. As you can see, these leaves here, it's not liking this salty irrigation. That's the only thing that's really changed, other than a little bit of colder temperatures. But you can see these burned edges of the leaves. Now here's what I've done with it before in my yard, because I don't know if you know that in my yard I have very salty irrigation. I live very close to the ocean, and the salt is in the water, the groundwater. Now you can see these new growth, they're not really brown on the ends yet. This one is kind of, but not so much. I want it to grow through it, get tall enough, high enough that it will grow through it. I may have to put a stake on it to continue its vertical growth more quickly. I have a couple of eggplant I planted that were given to me. But yeah, that one made it from the table to the ground, and the update is doing quite well. Alright, so let's do a rundown of what's going on in the grow table. I've planted many other things along this edible wall in my yard, which has evolved over the last couple of years. The bananas, the papaya, the ginger, the edible cactus, the edible yucca, the hibiscus. Now I've got 3 varieties of sugarcane in here and more on the way. I've been trimming back my hibiscus a bit. Lots of agaves in here. Lots of agaves. This will give you an idea of how easy these are to grow. See this? They just threw the flower there, and then these have been going ever since. And if you want them to grow, just put them in the place that you'd like them to live, and that's where they'll be. I think I like it better back there, not right up on the sprinkler. But you can see all these little ones here are ready to pot if I want to. And that's one way I typically do this, and that's a good recommendation for you, is throw stuff around and watch it grow naturally in a kind of permaculture sense, and then pot it. Look at this, Areca palm. Just threw it up in there, and it grows. I've decided to do a lot more. I've been motivated by some influences lately that have convinced me to do much more permaculture, to leave much more of the leaves to rot down onto the soil and so on, and return to the plants they came from, rather than cart them off in yard waste. Okay, so let's give this a rundown. The Dracaena is looking so good. Song of India, green, standard Dracaena. Pink Dracaena, variegated Dracaena. Here's a tricolored Dracaena. All the Dracaena did well. 2 mango trees from pits. I actually just threw these pits up in over there, and they sprouted on their own. Mexican petunia, killing it. This recently bloomed, but I'm not sure what that actually is, to be perfectly honest. But since it's bloomed, I think I'll give it more of a center stage, actually. I'll have to figure that out in a bit. I'm not sure what that is. That might be a pepper plant. Yeah, the Mexican petunia is doing beautifully. The ever-bearing mulberry, all 4 sprouts sprouted and still doing fantastic. The Persian mulberry, of course, a champion among mulberries, doing well. All 3 cuttings that we planted grew. This is hibiscus. It did stay alive. It just hasn't grown much. Another Song of India that I planted here. I might replace that with something more interesting. This is a sable palm, believe it or not. That's a sable palm growing up. Little sprout from seeds we planted. This is the oyster plant. These are reliable to grow from cuttings. Very easy. Lots of videos on the channel about how to grow these. I'll try to remember to add a link up here that you can click on. This is dragon fruit. Same dragon fruit I have out front that I'm training up a sea grape that I've tree formed. This is a brown turkey fig tree from a sucker grown from a cutting, grown quite well. And you can see the crotons. I have a love of crotons. This type of croton, this type of croton, the Mamie croton. This is one that grew from a seed. Here's another croton I grew from a seed. They're all doing very well. And then I have a number of things. These are actually pigeon peas. I planted seeds that I got from a friend. All in here pigeon peas. So a lot of pigeon peas going now. Going from left to right, here's a papaya that I grew from a cutting. From this gigantic papaya, if you can see it up there. Oh, hey James Tropicals. Good to see you on board, as usual. My little pan cactus has not sprouted, but it will. This is the Ducat dill, growing quite well. This is the Chinese tallow, and Chinese tallow are one of the few things in Florida that actually give you that fall color. And it actually did have a couple leaves that turned orange yellow. But I love to grow these bonsai. They're actually strong growers. They're considered to be a pest around here, but grown in a pot. This, believe it or not, is lemongrass, which is a great thing to grow around. Very hardy, very easy to grow lemongrass. These are carrot microgreens. Not sure what I'm going to do with them. I guess I start chopping off bits of them once they get big enough. Number of things planted here that are waiting to come in. I'm going to grow basil microgreens. I just planted basil all throughout there. I'm going to grow them thickly in there. There's my starfruit tree saplings, which I separated very carefully. They are all doing quite well. I couldn't resist it. I grew another pad cactus, but I may get rid of that too, just because there's other more interesting things I have in mind. The Areca palm suffered a squirrel attack, lost 2 nuts. You know how that goes. Number of small pup bananas that I've grown here, as well as another mango that I pulled up, a seed that was just growing wild in my yard from a Hayden, and I'm hoping that will grow, but we'll see. The tip did die on it. It's hard to see probably, but the tip did die, so it's questionable. But usually they're pretty hardy. If I can, snip it and get it to reinvigorate, it should be okay. This is a banana pup I took off of Musa. It is still doing the shrinking thing, but I do believe it's going to be just fine. Here's a little cotton candy tree. just like the one we checked out. Here's a bunch of these beautiful arecas that I took from those arecas I threw down there. They're growing very, very well. That's an edible too, by the way. Now these two things are red kale, which are very beautiful. Look, I don't know if you can see how red that is, but those red kale microgreens. And to me, that is pretty cool. I haven't eaten any yet. I'm going to get ready to eat some of those soon. And then these are red beet microgreens. Also growing very well. Both of these I got from seedsnow.com. By the way, links in the description. Go ahead and use those if you want to support the channel. Pretty pleased with what I got from them. They're growing like crazy. I've also got 3 large pots that I'm going to be showing in an upcoming video. By the way, I have it posted as a premiere now in the comment section for the channel to look at what we planted in those 3 pots, and I'm pleased to report they're growing. I'll probably do a stream to show the updated progress on those shortly after I post that premiere. The premieres are cool because they are an opportunity for us to connect as the first viewing of the video occurs, and I will be on the streams commenting. It's like a live chat on these premieres, and then you can comment, and it makes it kind of interactive and cool. I like it. It adds an element to it. So I'm going to be doing a lot more premieres as we move forward. Hey, Palm Nation. Good to see you. Oh, we got all the EB heavy hitters here today. That's cool. Good to see you. Bigfoot Squad. What's happening? Yeah, it's kind of a warm evening in Florida for this time of year. It's nice. Yeah, oh yeah, palm seedlings. Look at this. Funny thing is, talking about palm seedlings, here are queen palm seeds that I threw back here, and they still have not really grown much. I just threw them on top of the ground to see if they would grow like that, and I have not seen them. Some are now buried because I've stirred them around. You can see down here that the pups from these Cavendish banana trees are starting to want to do their thing. I planted a bunch of red sugar cane in here. Snow in Tennessee. Yeah, I'm pleased to announce that the sable palm is doing quite well. Just a little tiny guy, but at least I've got one. Really surprised that this croton grew from a seed so well. This is the same as this very long leaf type here. You can see that nothing quite like the leaf on these raining. Oh yeah. This time of year we generally get cold fronts that just kind of jump right on through and keep going. So it doesn't usually rain for that long, a day maybe, and then done. I just watered all these plants. I was thinking of extending this grow table. You know, I don't really want to end the series that I got going on now. So it's been way more fun than I thought to just sit up and grow a ton of things like that in these little pots. It only cost me $8 to get 50 of these pots. Oh man. Problem is with getting any more pots is I don't have any more room on these grow tables. Now I like the grow table effect as well. Something I've never done before, which is to build just a slightly elevated grow table. It's kept the critters away from it for the most part. I had that one squirrel incident, but otherwise it's been pretty good to get it up off the ground. They get a little bit more sunlight in this particular position because this is on the southern side of my yard, so it gets shaded. It's directly on the fence, so this has helped. But I'd like to actually continue the grow table now. I'm going to continue to track this in the What You Got Growing On series, of course, and add to it. But one of the things for sure is the idea of adding protein-rich kind of vegetable stuff to the yard. Hey, Alice. And that's going to be those pigeon peas. So I've got 16 seeds that I planted, and they're easy to separate once they grow, so the pigeon pea will be a winner in the yard, but I'll put those suckers all over the place. Well, okay. Thanks for watching. I think I'm going to go ahead and get off. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you like these kinds of streams. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Eat your backyard.